Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a multi-character accessory by me. So let's get into it. Scaramouche. Scaramouche loved you very deeply, and that meant he was going to be extremely protective of you. So should anyone think of harming you, then they will have him to get through. After all, he was extremely strong and extremely protective, and he was not going to let anyone even think of it, let alone try. So when he sees that person looking at you in a weird way, he is already irked. That man, he seems to be looking at you for something specific. At first, he started to feel possessive because he thought that maybe the man was checking you out or something, but then he realized that that was not the case. No, this was something else entirely. Because as soon as he turned around to walk away, the man went over to you, and he noticed a knife in his pocket. In that single moment, Scarecrow had stopped him, pinned him to the ground before he could even get to you. "Do you think I'm an idiot?" he whispered, grabbing the man roughly, while the people looked at him. "Scarecrow, what are you doing? What's going on?" you say, feeling really confused and worried. But Scaramouche, he doesn't listen to you. You have no idea what's going on, Mayan. I will deal with him. Try to find someone we know, maybe Dea or Kusanali, he said in an urgent tone, before he flew away with the man. There was nothing you could do, but you were sure that Kusanali was watching over you somehow. And whatever he was doing, it had to be right, for some reason or another, and you were going to wait for an explanation, hoping that it will justify whatever he has done. At least to you. You didn't care what the people were thinking right now. Maybe they thought he was insane or violent, but whatever they may think, you only want to know why he did this. Meanwhile, Scara was thinking of a dozen ways to deal with this person. It seemed like he wanted to rob you or kidnap you, and he was going to make sure he could never do that to anyone ever again. Maybe in a little bit of an aggressive way, but hey, it's certainly more efficient. And Scaramouche loves efficiency with people like this. Venti? Venti could easily tell what someone was thinking. Maybe it was the years that made him be so intelligent and clever. Or the experience. Or maybe it was some powers he had. You would never know. But most importantly, you felt like it had to be all of those combined to be able to have that amazing sense of his. And yet you didn't feel like it could explain why he was fussing over you today. He was worried, telling you that something in the wind has been telling him to take care of you today. And you pouted. "But don't you take care of me every day, Venti?" "Well, I guess I just have to take care of you more today then," he said lovingly, leaning down to give you a kiss on the cheek. While you just huffed, he couldn't really tell why he was acting that way. Maybe he wasn't telling you the full truth. Or maybe he truly didn't know. Either way, he didn't want him worrying over you so much. But it seemed like all of that was for a reason. Because as you headed out to do something, alone, two guys had cornered you, pinning you to the wall. They threatened you, wanting to take your stuff, and when you shook your head, one of them slapped you roughly, while the other searched you. And in that moment, Venti appeared. In that 1 second he had taken his eyes off of you, you had disappeared from his sight. And here you were, hurt, by two people he wanted nothing more than to just make disappear in that moment. But only took a deep breath before telling you that he was going to handle it. In that moment, he and the two men disappeared, and you were left alone. Soon, Jean had already sent one of the Favonia's guards to your side, as Vint had informed her of what's going on. And thankfully, everything went alright. You were brought home safe and sound, and Venti, dealt with those people in his own personal way. So it was needless to say that they learned their lesson very well, and they have never regretted anything more in their entire lives. Xiao, Xiao was your protector. That was the way you met, and that was what he intended to do for as long as you lived. To protect you, to keep you safe and away from all harm, in any way that he can, whenever he could. So, for someone to harm you, and make him actually need to do something, it means they've already done too much, because Xiao already goes above and beyond in protecting you, and making sure that everyone is safe. Not just you. He keeps the peace in Liyue. So for someone to bypass that, and not only that, but hurt you specifically, that was something that would make him very angry. And that exactly is what happened. You were wandering around at night. You wanted some inspiration for a new art piece. And the way the nature would look at night, the mountains amidst the stars, it was a sight so beautiful. And you had to capture it with your own eyes. Maybe then you will be able to have some inspiration for your next painting. And that's when someone, a treasure hoarder, saw you. He grabbed you roughly by the arm, dragging you away. And in that moment, before you could even shout, Xiao was by your side. The man was pulling you away too roughly, and there was a bruise on your wrist. So when he had grabbed him and witnessed that bruise on your arm, he was already furious. The man was just stunned and kind of confused, because a moment ago you were there alone, and right now, the yaksha was grabbing him roughly. "What do you think you're doing?" he says, seething, and he has nothing to say, trembling, hoping that his silence will at least grant him a way to live. But Chao is ruthless with his punishments, and it's only fair in his mind. But when it's done, he wraps his arms around you tightly, kissing you all over your face. He's never this affectionate, and most of all, he never initiates it. But he loves you. And in that moment when someone had tried to hurt you, when he saw you in pain and in danger, he had realized just how much you were important to him, how you couldn't handle living without you, and how you were the most precious thing in his entire world. I love you, Ion. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. He did, Chao. He did. And as you held him in your arms, the two of you stayed there for a moment, appreciating the other's presence and the fact that the two of you were okay in the end.